Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel, and today we have my Premier League predictions for the 2022-2023 season. This is my first ever Premier League predictions, so I'm not expecting many miracles, but from what I can remember I don't think I did too well. But we're going to get straight into it. Before we do, if you're new, hit that like button and subscribe as usual, but who cares about that. Let's get straight into it. In 20th, I said Bournemouth. In reality, it was Southampton. I'm going to talk about Bournemouth, and then we'll talk to Southampton wherever I said them then. So for Bournemouth, they actually, I don't think near enough anyone, if you predicted Bournemouth to survive, well done. Because I don't think many people in this world did predict Bournemouth to stay up. They definitely flabbergasted everyone. Flabbergasted. I don't think I've ever used that word in my life. Gary O'Neill came in and did a very good job. He obviously came in for Scott Parker, one of the 28 sackings this season, and he has somehow taken this bang average championship squad and taken them 15th in the Premier League. That is not easy to do, especially when you just lost 9-0 to Liverpool. Your confidence is not going to be high in that team. Standout player for them definitely this season is probably Neto. Obviously took over as captain and when he came in, and he's led them into 15th. Dominic Solanke was there with the goals. Philip Billing, he's probably going to get a big move in the summer because he had a very good season for them. And they were without some players throughout the season, like David Brooks, who obviously had a battle with cancer and wasn't able to return to the latter stages when they were already safe near enough. So was not an easy season for Bournemouth, but yet they still just made it look easy, picking up massive wins against good teams. They were a minute away from getting a draw against Arsenal. They beat Liverpool 1-0 after losing to them 9-0. It's not easy to do, and they did it. So didn't get out incorrect. They finished 5 places higher than what I did predict. Fulham I put in 19th. Fulham, again, were one of those teams that everyone's expecting to go back down because they are a yo-yo team normally, like Norwich, who surprisingly didn't actually go back up. But Fulham, I do actually think they finished 10th, but I do think they could have got Europa League or Conference League if it wasn't for the Mitrovic ban, who, by the way, has had the season of his career, not including championship seasons. He is normally known as that championship striker who just doesn't do anything in the Prem. He's been in the Prem plenty of times and he's got like 5 goals each season. This season he's come alive. I don't know how many goals he's got, but I know he has got a lot. He's got 14 goals in the Prem. That's while only playing about 25 to 30 games. That's, again, for what we expected from Mitrovic this season, that is very good. But Marco Silva, what a job he has done, from going from getting sacked at Everton with leaving us in the relegation zone to taking Fulham to 10th in the league with, again, a very bang average squad. It probably shouldn't be in a relegation battle. Looking back at the predictions, they had a very strong defence, but they finished 9 places higher than I predicted. In 18th, I did predict Leeds, who are 1 spot below. Leeds obviously did get relegated, but it was not in 18th, it was in 19th. I did see the red flags in, Fulham's player of the season. I'm going to go with Mitrovic, because 14 lost at FM. Close for a little followed up by Willian. But Leeds, they did not have a great year, sacking 2 managers, and bringing in the total opposite of that previous manager. They also started using Jesse Marsch, who is a very forward-thinking manager. Then they sacked Timber and Javi Gracia, who was trying to, I guess, stable out the defence while still being an attacking manager. Didn't work. Well, it was working, but then they didn't give him the time, and they panicked, sacked him, brought in the very stable defensive Sam Allardyce, who was known for keeping Premier League teams up, being a relegation survivalist, and he's not been able to get it across the line. They're relegated, proving that no matter how good the manager is defensively, they did not have a good defence. Illan Meslier, I don't know how many goals he conceded, but he got dropped and Sam Allardyce came in, but John Roble, he still ended up conceding about 15 in 4 games. No matter who they had in between the sticks, no matter what their team was, they were too poor defensively all season long. They were missing their star striker in Bamford the majority of the season. There were too many cracks that they were trying to paper over, but trying to put a bandage over by sacking the manager. It doesn't work like that. You have to stick. If they'd sold Jesse Marsch, they may have got sacked. They may have got relegated even, but they probably would be in a good place to get back up next season. Really though, this entire time it should be Marcelo Bielsa, and a lot of Leeds fans will agree with me. Marcelo Bielsa probably would not have put you in this situation. Yes, you were still conceding bucket loads, but you were so good going forward. I don't think you'd be in this situation still. So they finished one place lower than I predicted. Their player of the season, I'm going to go with, it's tough because they don't have many, and I haven't watched them a lot, but from what I have seen, correct me if I'm wrong, Leeds fans, but I'm going to go Brendan Aronson. Apparently he's had a decent season. But yeah, 17th place I put Nottingham Forest. Obviously Nottingham Forest ended up finishing one place higher than that, and they finished 16th. I personally am very happy with that prediction. Nottingham Forest bringing in about 38,000 players and still looking very good all season. Obviously that one really bad stint when they lost by 11, or they went winless in 11 games, but still they didn't sack Steve Cooper, which is really good. I think if they'd sacked Steve Cooper, they'd have panicked, gone and got like a Sam Allardyce, and they probably would have got relegated. I think sticking with Steve Cooper was the best thing they could have done. There were too many players that needed to gel at the start of the season, and it was never going to be good from straight away. I think overall, some players they brought in ended up being very, very good, and they still kept some of their older players, like Brennan Johnson, who was obviously had to keep after the season he had for them in the Championship. They had also kept other main staples like, correct me from, no, who else was there? Steve Cook, Joe Worrell, Harry Toffolo, Scott McKenna, some very strong parts of their defence throughout the season they had kept, even though they may not have looked Premier League ready, or they may not look Premier League proven, or maybe they just weren't good enough for the Premier League anymore, but yet they still came and kept them, and they did their job when they were needed and called upon. I remember the one part of the season when they, what was it, like, I want to say, Wooly Bolly and Niakata got injured at the same time, rather than just two other defenders, and they just bring on, and it was, I remember Joe Rod, but they bring on two other centre backs, and they still performed well. So the fact that you can get your players injured and still go and do as well as they know they could in the games is very good. Overall, Forest had a very good season. I'm very happy they kept Steve Cooper from minute 1 to minute 90 throughout the season. Then there was rumours he was going to get sacked, never got sacked, and that's the main reason they are still in this league, is because they kept Steve Cooper. Player of the season for them, I'm have to go Morgan Gibbs White, who probably was their summer signing that not many people looked down and was like he's going to be their best player, but from what I've heard he has been electric in every game and kept them in this league with a massive role. So in 16th place I put Southampton. Yikes. Southampton obviously finished 20th in the league and did not have a good year. I really am disappointed with this prediction, as the writing was on the wall this entire time, but I for some reason still thought that, you know, Southampton, they never looked like they were going to go down. They always looked like they'd maybe in that relegation battle. They've been such a staple of the Premier League for a decent amount of time, they didn't look like they were going to go down, even with how poor their squad was looking. Obviously they had Bazunu too young for the Prem. He needed more experience in the Championship maybe first. Their attacking options were not good enough, but yet they just for some reason looked like, they're not going to go down. Ralph Hasenhüttl, he maybe losing 9-0 each season, but he's still been solid for them. I think the 4-4-2 just doesn't work in this league, and that was his main favourite thing, the formation to go with, and I think that's played a big part. Then bringing in Nathan Jones was the complete wrong decision. They should never have brought Nathan Jones after sacking Ralph Hasenhüttl, and then sacking and bringing Ruben Selle, however you say his name, was again, do they want to stay in the league or not? Selle's, no, You don't bring in a guy that's never managed in the Premier League. He did well, don't get me wrong, he had some very good wins, like that win against Chelsea. But no, you've had to go with a Premier League proven, or at least a relegation proven manager, someone that knows how to get a team out of relegation battle, not the assistant. Player of the season over Southampton is got to be James Ward-Prowse. Like usual, he was their best player, followed up probably by Romeo Lavia with a very good season. And it shows when teams are on the beach, they play better, because, not always play better, but Southampton had nothing to play for, and they drew their final game 4-4 Liverpool, who were literally, they went 2-0 up on them, and they came back and were winning 4-2 at one point. Where did that come from? They got a very young and exciting squad, Southampton. It's going to be exciting to see them in the Championship next season. In 15th, I put my team, Everton. Now, obviously, I had gone about Everton all day, but I'll probably be a separate video about us, because I know obviously a lot more about us, and I've watched every game this season, so I know a lot more to say. Going over the basics, so Jordan Pickford's your legend. Jordan Pickford, obviously Everton finished 17th, barely staying in the league, winning on the final day against Bournemouth with an Abdoulaye Doucouré stunner of a goal. Everton had a very poor season, very much missing their star striker and Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who missed large chunks of the season. Looked like he was going to come back by the end, but again got injured and missed the final day, and it really did hinder us in the final day of the season. Demarai Gray to fill in at points, Neil Maupay to fill in points, and Sims had to fill in points, and none of them could do the same thing that Dominic Calvert-Lewin could do. If Everton want to stay in the league next season, we need to sign a couple of players like fullbacks and strikers. Yerry Mina, he is now gone, obviously. We're not renewing his contract. I think we wanted to, but he wanted to go. He's probably too good for us, let's be honest. Coming in at the end of the season and pulling wonders. But the main thing that has kept us in this league, bar for Jordan Pickford, is the sacking of Frank Lampard. We sacked Frank Lampard right at the right time. Probably should have done it during the Christmas break and got Sean Dyche in then. We didn't. We thought, hey, we'll give Sean Dyche, or we'll give Frank Lampard even the rest of January, make some signings. Maybe nobody makes him a signing. He clearly was proven out of his depth, and eventually we did pull the trigger during the international break. Got Sean Dyche in, and he fixed the boat, put some managers on it, and kept this up. But it's not going to be enough if we don't make some summer signings. Everton's player of the season, Jordan Pickford. We also had some very, very good other players like Amadou Onana, Jamie Garner came in and did very well. But it is definitely going to be Jordan Pickford, probably followed up by Onana or Tarks or McNeil. Those three probably on level with each other. But the scale goes from up here with Pickford down to here with those three. There's a big gap in between them. And obviously Everton finished 17th. 14th, I said Brentford. Now, Brentford obviously shocked a lot of people, and that's why I'm not too mad at myself for this prediction, because Brentford shocked everyone. They shocked everyone last season, but they did it again by finishing even higher, finishing 9th, I want to say it was, this season. Where did that come from? This is Brentford Football Club. Don't get me wrong, there's some very good players, but they should not finish in 9th in the Premier League. The job Thomas Frank has done is amazing. I hope he doesn't leave for Tottenham, because that would be such a silly move from him. It's not an upgrade. Both teams aren't in European football. Stick down with Brentford and keep building them like Graham Potter should have done with Brighton. Brentford have a very good season. They've shocked everyone, and that's why I'm going to go with their player season. It's going to be Ivan Toney, even with his 8 months ban now, which could very much hinder them next season if they don't replace him, which is not easy, because Ivan Toney, even with his betting addiction, is still probably one of England's best strikers, just behind Harry Kane. In the 13th, I said Aston Villa. Obviously, Villa did finish a lot higher and did eventually get the Europa Conference League qualification spot guaranteed. I think it was, well, it literally was on the final day when they beat Brighton. If Brighton had dropped literally 2 more points, Villa would be in Europa League. But personally, for me, I love certain Villa players. I don't like Villa as a club, but I do love Emi Martinez, I can't lie to you. But Villa had a very good season. Obviously, they did start very poor when they had Steven Gerrard in charge, who, again, showed like Lampard that he was out of his depth. He's not ready for the Premier League. And That's why sacking him was the best thing he could have done. And then going to get Unai Emery. Who would have thought that Villa would have been able to get Unai Emery, who was a European specialist, bar for the Champions League? Fair play to Villa. They've had a very good season, only losing 13 times in the league, which seems like a lot, but they won 18. So it levels out. They went to certain stadiums and proved people wrong. But yeah, Villa had a very good season. Player of the season, I'm gonna go with Emi Martinez. But I'm not watching enough, and I just love Emi Martinez. So in 12th, I put Leicester, who obviously finished 18th, getting relegated on the final day. Again, like Southampton, the writing was on the wall for Leicester. Their defence was too shaky all season. Brendan Rodgers, Leicester fans have been calling for his head all season. He never got it sacked until it was 8 games left, and for then it was probably too late for Dean Smith, who did come in and steady the ship, and then it collapsed again. The bandages were ripped off halfway through. They had very important games they did not win, or they did not lose. So like Leicester, it was Leicester Everton actually, because it was at the King Power. 2-2. They needed to win it. James Maddison had a penalty, and literally to make it 3-1 and probably seal the game, and that would have been them safe. But no, he bottled it. Pickford saved it, which was probably the moment that Leicester got relegated from the Premier League. From that point on, it gave Everton a confidence boost, which meant that they never looked like they were going to get relegated from that point on, and it really messed up Leicester. So Leicester, player of the season, James Maddison, but really it's not really easy to say, because for what people expect from Leicester, from winning the league 7 years ago, 2 years ago winning the FA Cup, being 6 years ago being in the quarterfinals of the Blade Champions League, and now getting relegated to the Championship. Name another league where that can happen, because I don't think I can. This league is crazy. In 11th, I put Wolves. Wolves did finish 13th. I'm not too mad at that prediction, but I can't remember who they had in before, but he was not proven. I remember that. He had that one season, then they started this season very shaky. Correct me in the comments, because I can't remember his name. But they should have really, I don't know, they obviously somehow got Lopetegui after the World Cup break. Tell me how that happened. I don't know myself, to be honest. But Wolves had a bang average season probably for them. Maybe should have done better, but there's not very much else to say about them. They two places lower than what I predicted. They know they can do better, and they'll probably move on next season. In 10th place, I said Palace. In reality, they finished 11th, meaning that I am still not got a single prediction correct yet, and we are 10 in. Palace, they obviously started the season with Patrick Vieira. I never thought Patrick Vieira was going to get the sack, because he never looked like he was bad. He never looked like he was amazing. He looked like he was just able to steady the ship and be what Palace normally are, which is a mid-table team. But they obviously were dragged into relegation round after winning, I think, like not being winless in 13, maybe less. Correct me again in the comments. Zaha was injured for a lot of the season, obviously being their star man. That is not what you want. But big players stepped up, and Roy Hodgson came in, like Eze, like Elise. Big players stepped up for them, and they got across the line with about 8-9 games to spare. And they never properly win that relegation round, but they were dragged in it during that bad patch of form. In 9th, I said Brighton. This prediction I am very happy with. I know Brighton finished 6th, but I'm still very happy with it. Like my next prediction. Personally, for me, did not think I was going to predict Brighton to finish anywhere near where they were going to. I kind of went, you know what, Brighton have been on the up in a couple of seasons. Let's 9th, and then maybe next season finish high. But then when Potter left for Chelsea, I was thinking, oh no, this is going to be nowhere near correct. And yet, they just went even further up the table and finished 6th. Brighton have had a brilliant season from match day 1 to match day 38. Every game, bar a couple, they looked like they were going to push for the Champions League. Sadly, it didn't work out after the 5-1 loss to Everton at the Amex. But when you look at Brighton, you don't think they're going to do well. their front four in Ciso, McAllister, Mitoma, Danny Welbeck / Evan Ferguson. How is that gonna be a Europa League front four? Mitoma, where did he come from? This guy was brought in during the summer or maybe January, and how? Where? He just came in and lit the league alight. I mean, Ciso, he's 18, I think, and he's pocketing defenders. McAllister, he's off now. He's going off to Liverpool, looks like. But he's had a brilliant season. He's a World Cup winner, for God's sake, at the age of 24, 23. Danny Welbeck. Danny Welbeck is like 32 and was injury-prone striker. And yeah, he's still pulling off goals. And Evan Ferguson, he's 18. Yeah, he's still pulling off goals. Their defence is so strong, and the football De Zerbi has them playing is beautiful. Looking in for the gaps, they push 9 players up and still barely concede. They've dropped Brighton and all these teams that hate their keepers. So Jason Steele, you're not safe. They've dropped Robert Sanchez, a Spain number 2, for Jason Steele, and bar for a couple of games, it's looked like the best decision they could have made. Brighton Football Club, I wish I supported you at points, because how well, they are the best run club in the league, in the country they are. So Brighton, well played. In 8th, I said Newcastle. I know Newcastle finished 4th, but I am still happy with this prediction, because from going from relegation survivalist last season to finishing 4th, who would have predicted that, even with their oil, or even with not even oil mist, Prince money. Fair play to them. Their recruitment has been brilliant. Eddie Howe has been brilliant. Obviously 45 million for Gordon, thank you, but no, he is not worth it. 1 goal, and it was a tap-in on the final game of the season, which meant nothing. No, he was probably not the right idea to bring him in. But overall, Newcastle had a very good season, the best defensive record in the league. Who would have thought that a couple of years ago when Eddie Howe was at Bournemouth and couldn't defend to save his life? He's obviously gone away. There's rumours that he's gone to Athletic games to see how they defend, and it's clearly worked for him, Eddie Howe, as he's now one of the best defensive. He's the best defensive manager in the league, technically. Callum Wilson, he's got, like, what is it, 18 goals this season? It's Callum Wilson. He has played 90 minutes around 3-4 times this season, and yet he's still got 18 goals. And Alexander Isak, what a signing he looks like he's going to be. They've dropped St. Maximin for Jacob Murphy and Almiron, and it's looked like nothing's changed. How? I don't know. But brilliant season for Newcastle. Player of the season for them. Oh, Brighton player of the season, Caicedo. And Newcastle player of the season. And Palace player of the season. Actually, I forgot to do it. I'll just check for easy. Newcastle player of the season. I'm gonna have to go with Bruno Gomes. I didn't mention him during it, but what a season he has had as a player. Nick Pope's up there. Trippier. There's too many to really say, to be honest, for Newcastle. I could be all day talking about Newcastle, but I've got to move on. This video is already getting too long. 7th, probably one of my worst predictions. I said West Ham. Really, it didn't look like much could go wrong for West Ham this season. Conference League and Premier League football. What more can you really ask for West Ham this season? They signed Scamacca, they signed Cornet, but from what I've seen, it's their pace that's really letting down this season. And yeah, David Moyes was never sacked. Paqueta really came on in the second half of the season, and he's done very well. They've not been bad defensively, even with the cat kicker at centre back. How has he not been banned for at least a couple months for kicking cats? It's a bit ridiculous. Come on, FA. But the full-backs are probably their weaker spot. Obviously, you have Ben Johnson, Soufal, Cresswell, and there's someone else I can't remember his name. But it's not been good enough defensively. That has been their big problem. Declan Rice obviously looks like he's going to leave in the summer, but he's had a very good season again, and he is going to be voting for player of the season for West Ham. Is Declan Rice. Probably followed up by Paqueta, very close. But even players like Fornals and Benrahma have had very good seasons when in the second half. you can't really go off their first half of the season because it was shambolic. That second half of the season, West Ham have very much kicked on. In 7th, I'm very happy with this prediction as well. They finished 6 places lower, but I put Chelsea. I'm happy with this because Chelsea looked like they were going to be brilliant this season. They had Thomas Tuchel at the start, and it didn't look like much go wrong. They'd spent millions and millions, hundreds of millions in the transfer window, and it looked like they were the perfect team who were going to try to challenge for top 4, even maybe the league. But no, they didn't. They finished 12th, and they had 3 different managers. There's 4 different managers this season, and then the season with this club's fodder as their manager, Frank Lampard, who came back and did nothing. He lost out, 9 out of his 8, he lost, 3 out of his 9 games, I want to say. So, going back to the start of the season here, Thomas Tuchel, what could go wrong? They just signed Raheem Sterling, Kalidou Koulibaly, Fofana, Aubameyang, very well proven players in their respective position. No, they did nothing. They did nothing in the first half. They actually picked up 11 points in their first 5 games. And Todd Bowley fed up. He's like, no, I want 15 out of 15. We're sacking you. They sacked Tuchel. Okay, well now they go to Graham Potter. Why would you bring in Graham Potter? I get why, but he's not going to work. He's not ready for this challenge yet. Okay, well, maybe he can do well with his philosophy. Oh no, we're going to sack him. If you're bringing in Graham Potter, you've got to give him time. Okay, well, they're going to go get another proven manager now. Oh no, they're going to Frank Lampard. What was that meant? The vibes? Well, the vibes weren't there, because Vibe beat Killing K, wasn't it? Your centre-back. What's the point in bringing in Frank Lampard when he's already proven it? They were close to starting a relegation battle. They were never going to get relegated, but if they didn't win against Bournemouth, they would have been 3 points off relegation, and they would have finished, if I'm looking at this correctly, they would have finished this season in, if they hadn't beat Bournemouth, 15th. Or 6th or 14th. How much money they bought Enzo Fernandez in the summer for 120 million? He's played every game and he's done probably nothing from what I've seen. How do you spend over 300 million and you get worse? So Chelsea finished 12th. Somehow I have to give him a player of the season. If I had to give one, genuinely don't know for Chelsea, to be honest. I could be all day thinking Cucurella for 45 million, he's done nothing. Like, there's so many players that have just done nothing this season for them. They only scored, for Chelsea standards this is, they scored 2 goals more than Erling Haaland, who don't really ask the best striker in the league, but no club should be scoring less than a striker when you have that status. I know there were clubs that did, obviously, like my club, but we don't have a striker, so it's allowed, okay? We actually scored the least amount of goals in the league, so it proves the point we need a striker. But player of the season for Chelsea, I'll just give it to Kepa now that he played okay since coming in. But really, no, he does not serve it either. Chelsea fans, tell me who you give your player of the season to, because I really don't know. 5th, I said Arsenal. Obviously, Arsenal were top of the league for over 260 days, and yet they finished 2nd. Arsenal were probably, well, not probably, they were the 2nd best team in the league, and they probably should have won the league, but they just slipped up in the biggest moments, like drawing to Southampton, drawing to West Ham, losing to Man City both times, losing to Everton. There were too many games they needed to win, and they shouldn't. They're losing Granit Xhaka now, and that's going to be a big miss for them, I think. They, obviously, the moment their season ended was probably when Saliba got injured. They got knocked out of the Europa League. It's not been a great end to the season for Arsenal. You'd expect more for Premier League title challengers. But Arsenal have shocked everyone, let's be honest, who genuinely thought they'd be in a Premier League battle, a Premier League title battle, until 3 games left. And that's against Man City. Man City. They brought in Jesus, they brought in Zinchenko. Both have played brilliant. Jacob Kiwior, he's done okay when he's needed, when he's been called upon, he's done okay. Again, if they'd leave it, they probably wouldn't have lost it. Ben White's gone from centre back to right back and looked like he's been a natural right back ever since he started football. And this guy doesn't even watch football, so how has he known how to play right back? He's got Tomiyasu as his inspiration. Partey has had a decent season, but their player of the season, Martin Odegaard. What he has done for them this season, going from a look like a failed one kid into one of the best cams in the world, fair play. What Mikel Arteta has done this season is brilliant. His philosophy and his way of managing is going to be, it could put them in another top 4 race. I'm not saying title charge next season, as I think teams like Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea maybe are going to come back alive next season. United, Newcastle, there's going to be too much competition for them. But yeah, in 4th, I said Man United. I'm happy with this prediction. I did not fall for the belief that Ten Hag was not going to do well. So I'm very happy with that prediction. They obviously were still with Cristiano Ronaldo at this point in the season, and he ended up not even playing half. He played about 4, 5, 10 games for them and scored about 1 goal. Yeah, 1 goal against Everton. What has happened to Cristiano Ronaldo? That could be an entire separate video. But yeah, Marcus Rashford had a brilliant season. Varane and Lisandro Martinez have had a very good season next to each other. Bruno, again, very good season. Their main problem, though, has been the striker. They need to go sign someone like Osimhen in the summer, because they need a proven striker who can score them goals. If they can score goals, they can be in that Premier League title charge again next season. De Gea's had a very decent season. Again, his distribution set him down a lot this season, though. Casemiro, he's probably been one of the greatest signings of the summer. So, well done to United. They've had a very good season. I'd probably give them. I'd probably give their player of the season to Marcus Rashford. 40 goal contributions this season for them. From what I've seen, a lot of United fans want him sold in the summer. They didn't. They kept him, and he's proven to them why he should not have been sold and why he is one of their best players. In 3rd, the worst in my opinion, Tottenham Hotspur, I predicted. They obviously finished 8th. It didn't look like much could go wrong for Spurs. A lot could go wrong for Leicester, but it didn't look like that either. But Spurs, looks like they'd won the summer window, bringing in Richarlison, Bentancur, Kulusevski, Longley, Fraser Forster. You'd be all day naming players, and they didn't know much go wrong with them. They had a serial winner in Conte, and yet he's won nothing. Like Jose Mourinho, this is one of the only clubs he's been at, and he's never won anything. It could be his only club, actually. So it's the history of the Tottenham, as the famous line by Chiellini goes. Harry Kane, how he is still at the club, I don't know. But again, another brilliant season from him. They brought in players he thought were going to do brilliant, like Richarlison, and he's got 2 goals. Is it 2? Or is it 1 goal, I think it is, in the Premier League this season. This guy, by the way, was getting goals every couple of games at Everton. He is proven. It must be the format he's been played in. It's not the same as he was at Everton. Lloris has proven to be a liability. Their defence has proven to be a liability as well. And that was the big thing for them this season, is their defence. They're clearly not good enough at defending. They obviously brought Pedro Porro and Danjuma in the summer window, but they didn't bring the right players in the January window. But it needs to bring defenders, not attackers. Their attack was fine. They had Harry Kane, who was scoring goals. They needed defenders, but they didn't bring in defenders, and that's what's really cost them European football. In 2nd, I said Liverpool. If you did Premier League predictions, you didn't put Liverpool 2nd or 1st, fair play. Liverpool always love a squad that no matter how bang average their midfield is, it somehow was always magic, and they somehow always were still title challengers. This season it's all fell down for Liverpool, and they've had one of those off seasons that they do love to have under Klopp, and the big thing has been their midfield. Their midfield has not been good enough. There's been no movement from the defence to the attack. It's all just been nothing. Their attack's been very good though, like usual, but again, why were they signing Gakpo in the January window? They needed to sign a midfielder. it's been a very silly business. They're receiving all the money for Bellingham, and he's off to Madrid. Now they have a lot of money in the bank, hopefully, to be able to sign some midfielders. McAllister will not fix your problems. You need some proper midfielders. In first, I finally get one correct. Man City. Way. United's player of the season, I think I did it. Yeah, Rashford. Liverpool's player of the season, I'm going to give it to Alisson. I think he had a very good season. Yeah, Man City. Finally, a prediction correct. Man City. It's Man City. They gave Arsenal an 8-9 point gap and they still made it back. Cheaters. 100 breaches, they're cheaters. So, relegate them to League 2 now. It's just so much to say. Because everyone knows what Man City are. Pep Guardiola, Erling Haaland, Kevin De Bruyne. You don't need me to explain it to you. Because it's Man City. So, they've just had another brilliant season. Looking like they're going to win the treble. And, yeah, that's really all I can say. Player of the season, Haaland. 36 goals. You're not human, mate. Where's... You know when Mina was scratching you, was trying to find if you're a robot. Where's the metal? Where's your CPU? But yeah. That's my Premier League predictions. 1 out of 20. And it's the most obvious one. Hopefully I do better next year. Sorry it's a long one. I hope you guys did enjoy it though. I'll see you guys at the end of the next one. Do hit that like and subscribe if you're watching this on the day it came out. Sorry for no streams recently. Yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one, and goodbye and goodbye.